Today I'm talking just a little bit about shoes for AFOs. So I have right here 3 different brands of shoes, or 3 different styles rather, 2 different brands. Seakai Run, size 13. This is the Rider Adapt shoe, the adaptive shoe. Billy Classic High. This is a Billy shoe extra wide model. And then this is a Billy Limitless, which is another one we have. All of these we have in our office here that we provide to our patients at times. But these are all size 13, and just wanted to show you a couple differences with them. So first of all, let's talk about weight. So for younger kids, I usually recommend the Seakai Run because they're much thinner and lighter. I've got a scale here. So this Billy shoe, this is a size 13. I'm not sure if you can see that, is 1/4 of a pound. 0.25 of a pound. The size 13 Limitless shoe, we are up to 0.48, so about half of a pound for that one. And then the Classic Extra Wide, that's extra width and extra heavy, 0.67 of a pound. So almost 3 times as much as this shoe is what this one weighs. A lot of kids are gonna have a hard time with that extra weight, so we really do like the thinner, lighter shoe. However, there's pros and cons to everything you need. So if we did need something with an exceptional amount of width, this is going to be the great option. What we always do whenever we're providing bracing is we always are going to take the insoles out. So I took all of the insoles out of all 3 of these shoes, and I want to show you something here. This is the Seakai Run insole, size 13. This is the Billy Limitless insole. Not sure if you can see the difference there, but quite a bit longer. And then this is the Billy size 13 with the extra wide, and that one is definitely wider, as you can see, but it also happens to be shorter for some reason. So really hard to predict exactly what size shoe we're going to need depending on all of these variables. The other thing we always recommend families do, if you have an AFO like this and you're trying to figure out the shoe, pull the insole out of the shoe and hold it up against the bottom of the AFO without the child's foot in there. Then you can see how much space the AFO is going to take up in the shoe. And again, this is the size 13, and we can see all of that there. But if I look at the size 13 on the Seakai Run, that's just about perfect. And you can see how that lines up. So then that gives you an idea of how much space is going to be taken up on the inside of the shoe. Because these shoes are a little bit thinner than the Billy shoes, one thing we do often do is put little cuts right across this seam here. Even though this is an adaptive shoe, as you can tell, it's quite a bit smaller than some of the other ones. But we put little cuts with a knife or scissors right along there, cinch it with a lighter, and that allows this space to open up more. So when there's an AFO in there, you have just these little cuts here, but it makes sure that it's not too tight across the metatarsal heads there, across that part of the shoe, and allows us to go with a shorter shoe that still has that extra width, shorter and lighter compared to some of these. One other consideration with the Billys, these are very common, very popular with AFOs, and they have a few different models, and you can see just with these 2 that there are differences in how they're made and how they're fabricated, and that's going to impact how everything functions. But if you have kids that are crawling, these can tend to be a real problem. So if they're dragging this across the floor, a lot of times these zippers will not hold up if they're either dragging their toes significantly or if they're crawling and pulling to stand. I would not recommend getting this because this will last maybe a week or 2. You can let me know your experience with that. If they're upright and walking and functioning on their feet primarily and not going to be dragging the zipper on the floor, then this would be a much better option. But just be aware of that if you do look at these Billy shoes. They do also have a version that has a zipper up here by the laces, and so that might be a good option too. I could go on for a while about shoes, but that's enough for today. Thanks.